Hi, Geula Mamas. It's Tzivi here. I was thinking a lot about the Ayelet Shwell interview, Healing Birth Trauma. It's really powerful and amazing. And the story with Ayelet's aunties who were giving her really good advice from their opinion, trying to help her to have the best birth that they felt was good for her. It really struck a chord within me because I feel like it's so often when we're expecting, when we're just raising our children, trying to live our life as best we can. And sometimes it seems like everybody else thinks they know better. Everybody else sometimes has an opinion, and it can be really hard. So today we're going to talk about how do you protect yourself from other people's opinions, and how do you figure out what you should do? Sometimes everybody else's opinion feels correct. This person's right and that person's right. They all have a point. How do I know what to do in between all of these opinions, right? So one of the things that Ayelet said that was so powerful was not to judge other people's judgments. It helped her to realize that her aunties were coming from a place of love. They were taking their experiences and trying to share that with Ayelet so that she could have in their mind what would be the best experience possible based on the information and the knowledge and the wisdom that they had at the moment. They were really coming from a place of love. Not everybody is always coming from a place of love, though. So how do we learn to filter other opinions from other people? How do we learn to trust ourselves? I'll tell you a little story. Once I was in Yerushalayim a couple years ago, and I was babysitting my friend's baby for a while. She had a job interview. So I had some errands to do. And I took her then maybe 6-month-old baby with me in the stroller. And I had a baby for a couple hours. And I went to some different government offices and stores. And it was really fun. She was absolutely adorable. Smiley little baby, really cute. She attracted a lot of attention though, because she was so cute. And the day was a little bit of a chilly day, and she wasn't wearing a hat. Now, I happen to be a person who believes that babies should wear hats, should have their head covered, should have their ears covered. That happens to be my particular personal point of view. So when the first person said to me, "Oh my gosh, your baby's not wearing a hat." And at that point, we were already inside of a building. She wasn't cold at the moment. My response was, "Oh, she's not my baby. You're right. She should be wearing a hat." I felt a little bit guilty. I felt like, oh my goodness, everybody's looking at me. They're all thinking this is my baby. And I didn't put a hat on my baby. I was self-judging because I bought in to their opinions about the baby wearing a hat because I agreed with their opinion that the baby should have had a hat. Turns out that everybody had an opinion about this baby and her lack of hat. And it was, being that it was in Yerushalayim, I suppose it's not too surprising that the big muscle-bound guy that looked like he just got off his motorcycle was very worried about the baby not wearing a hat. Certainly the older grandmother type of person, and everywhere in between, everybody was worried about the baby and her lack of headgear. And it was hard for me because she wasn't my baby. And if I had access to a hat store, at the moment, I would have bought a hat or a blanket and wrapped it on her head. I agreed with them. When other people give us their opinion, so often our reactions are based on whether we agree with them or we don't agree with them. A different person could have said, oh no, it's not good for babies to be overbundled. And I do agree with that, by the way. I agree with hats, but I also agree with not overbundling personally, right? So if her level of outer gear had matched in to my agreement of not overbundling a child, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I could have just said, hey, I don't agree with that. Or thank you for your opinion, right? And move on. That's always nice. Thank you. And we move on. I certainly wouldn't have, looking back now, with the knowledge that I have now, looking back, I wouldn't have felt the need to explain myself and to say, it's not my baby, I agree with you, all of those things. Who cares? Who really cares, right? So many of the opinions that other people have that we feel like it's affecting us, it's only because we agree with them, or we think that somehow they are the authority, somehow that they know better. So even if this is your first pregnancy, even if this is your first baby, it's your pregnancy and it's your baby. And babies are not given out at random, right? We all have our neshama, and we know that the neshama picks the family that it's going to, that Hashem sets these things up, right? That everything's perfect. You are the perfect mom for your baby, and your baby's a perfect child for you. So you're going to figure this out, right? If you're, let's say, expecting, and you've decided to do a certain test or procedure, or not to do a certain test or procedure, you've thought about it, you've made the decision. Everybody, everywhere you go, is going to have a different opinion. And that's going to be based on their experiences, their perhaps research, if that's even at all done. Oftentimes people pretend that they've done research. They pretend that they are experts in certain areas. I think it's subconscious, not on purpose. And we all do that a little bit. We sort of pretend to be an authority on something that we feel strongly about. But really, really, is that person really an authority? Usually not. Usually they're not an authority at all. They maybe had a personal experience. Maybe they had a friend or two, but they're not an authority. And they certainly are not an authority about your body, your pregnancy, your children. Now, sometimes when the person giving you their opinion is not people in line at the government office, right? This can be your mother, your aunts, your sisters, people that you're really close to. You value their opinion, and you also value your relationship with them. You know, oftentimes when we're having our, let's say, our first baby, our second baby, it doesn't almost matter. Our parents have a little bit of a hard time stepping back, right? Because you were in high school, you got married, maybe your parents made your wedding, maybe they've been there for you every step of the way, and they're still there for you. Sometimes it can be hard for that parent to then take a step back and remember that this is your pregnancy and your child. They feel like they still need to be involved. They still need to be sort of helicopter parenting you as you are becoming a parent. And this can be when you're young, but this can also be as you age. Sometimes your parents or relative can be very loving and very, very, very well-meaning, but they're a little bit too connected and they're not giving you that freedom to make your own decisions, to make your own mistakes, to walk your own journey. And sometimes we buy into that and we don't realize how strong we are. And that inside of each of us, we have like a little voice telling us what's right, telling us what's right for us. There's almost never right in the world, right? There's almost never correct and incorrect. Nothing's black and white. If it were black and white, then there would never have to be a discussion about these procedures or whether the baby should wear a hat or not. People get strong opinions when they are sure that it's black and white, when they are sure that their opinion is right, is correct, and all the other opinions are incorrect or wrong or dangerous or irresponsible. When you look at the world in such a black and white way, it's really, really difficult to make room for other people, to accept what they say, to accept somebody as being a little bit different. So when someone gives you your opinion, their opinion, I want you to stop for a moment and imagine that you have a little bit of a raincoat, right? Their opinion has come at you and it's like somebody threw an egg on your raincoat. But you're wearing a raincoat and you're protected. So you can decide if you want to look at the thing that they threw at you, if it has merit, if it's something you would like to research further, maybe ask some questions to them or to an expert, a true expert, and find out more about it. Or if you just want to wipe it off your raincoat and move on with your day. I want you to also remember that I love you. Have a great day.